Welcome to Technique Tuesday with the Department of Parks and Recreation, Prince George's County. This is your home each week to stay healthy and to keep your sports skills sharpened. Let's live more, play more, indoors.
Hello again, this is Calvin. This is Boxing Technique Tuesday, week 3. Today we will be working on learning how to wrap your hand and protect yourself as far as your mouth and your hands. So this is Donnell again, my prize boxer. I'm always gonna work with this young man, had him for a while. Today he's gonna show you how to wrap your hand and we're gonna show you how to protect your mouth and your teeth at the same time. Today, Donnell, I want you to show them how you wrap your hand the basic way. And these hand wraps, I see those for a second down there, these hand wraps are brand new. So he's gonna give you a demonstration how to wrap your hand to protect yourself. As you go from here, he holding his hand out. As he got his hand out, you put the loop around his thumb, just to give you a general idea. The loop goes around his thumb. And he wrapped around his wrist one time, wrapped around his wrist twice, wrapped around his wrist 3 times. And from there, he has his hand out. Go on, Donnell. He comes over top his hand. He wrapped over the top of his hand. As you can see, he wrapped over the top of his hand. But like I said, every boxer or every coach, they have different ways of wrapping their hand. But from here, we're going basically with the little basics right now. So you go over top of his hand again, as you can see. So that's the 3rd time. Then you go back down. He wrapped around his forehand, like coming around the hand to protect his pinky. You just get right at the edge of the pinky, not right up on the knuckle, but right at the edge. And you do that twice. Then he moves around the 3rd time. Now he takes it through his fingers. As you notice, he takes it through the pinky. Wraps it around the wrist, come back over top of the hand, go through the forefinger, wraps it around the wrist, then he comes through the index finger, back around the wrist, around the thumb, a wrist, around the thumb. Then as you see here, he went around the thumb, but he came up under the thumb this time, up under the hand. Instead of going over, he came up under the hand and around the top of the hand. Around the top of the hand again, the top of the hand again. As you can see, he make a fist down there. He's protecting his knuckles. This here is his knuckles. So this is what you want to protect as you wrap your hand. Like I said, every coach have their way of teaching their boxers to wrap their hand, but there's several ways you can learn how to wrap your hands. But this way is the basic way I'm going to tell him how to wrap his hand. He moves back around his wrist again, around his wrist. Most likely, he will finish around his wrist. His hand and his knuckles is protected. The most important thing is you want to protect your knuckle. Ball your hand up there, down there. You want to protect your knuckles. As long as this here is protected, you shouldn't have any problem once you enter the gloves. Basically, this is the typical hand wrap. You want to ball your hand up there, down there. You protect your knuckles, and usually different boxers do different things to make this really cushiony. Some of them wrap their hands, or they might put toilet paper here, or they might put a sponge here. Then will give a little more support around their knuckles. But as you're in a boxing show, you can use hand wrap or gauze to protect yourself. And as you see, open your hand down there, his hand is protected all the way around. and you have the cartilage on his wrist is protected because he wrapped around here about 5 or 6 times, and every time he wrapped around, he came around his wrist. So you're really protecting your wrist as well. So that right there is great protection. As I stated before, every coach is different. But for myself, I prefer to wrap your hand, have your mouthpiece in, you shadow box, and you run as well with your mouthpiece. Then your hand there, Donnell, and like I said before, the most important thing is protection of your knuckles. You want to protect your knuckles, boy. Your knuckles. You want to protect your knuckles. This way, you shouldn't have a problem. If your hand is really bad, I would suggest that you put some toilet paper or sponge in here, then wrap your hand. That way you give it a little more protection. From there, that's the boxing technique. This is week 3, and we'll see you next week. This is Calvin again, and we will see you with Donnell and myself. Thank you.
Thanks for joining us. Be sure to tune in again and visit the online resource center at pgparks.com. Your one-stop shop for arts, fun, fitness, and sports at home. Let's live more, play more indoors.